Moonage Daydream. This is a documentary by Brett Morgan, who is one of my favorite documentary filmmakers. Brett Morgan made a movie called The Kid Stays in the Picture, which used a lot of photographic techniques, which I thought was really innovative for its time. He also made my favorite music documentary ever. It's about Nirvana and Kurt Cobain and his story. And it's all from his personal cassette recordings, his drawings and sketches. He basically, Courtney Love actually gave Brett Morgan access to a storage facility that Kurt Cobain had kept with all of his whole old like notebooks and writings and recordings. And he used that as the basis for Montage of Heck, which is, for me, especially if you like Nirvana, one of the best music docs ever made. So I was very, very excited to see a documentary about David Bowie, Moonage Daydream. It's kind of a disappointment, I'm sorry to say. It's way too long. It's 20 minutes or more longer than it should be. You don't really get much of an intimate look at, I mean, it sort of, at least they're aspiring to give you an intimate look at David Bowie and who he is and try to explain him. And there's a lot of you see performances and concert footage. That's actually the best part of the film. But when they show him being interviewed by the media, they're just confused. I just think he's a rock star that dresses in weird shit. Okay. There were a lot of rumors about David Bowie, and they talk about that in the film. I think it's one of the best trailers I've seen this year. If you look up after our stream, check out the trailer for Moonage Daydream. That's what got me stoked about this film. But ultimately, I think the film is kind of a disappointment because it didn't get to the deeper layers I was hoping for that I think the trailer kind of teased. And then it shows a lot of the performances and it shows kind of how his career evolved, but there's no context. It actually may have benefited from a narrator or someone leading you along in the story. The person that's leading you along in the story is David Bowie himself, recordings and interviews and whatnot. So it's kind of like it's part fly on the wall, but it's also like you hear David Bowie talking about who he is, trying to explain his art. And my conclusion is he's just a rock star looking for attention on stage. I don't know that he ever explained it in the documentary in a way that felt satisfying where, wow, I have a greater understanding of David Bowie. I'm just as confused about who he was, after seeing the film as before. Now, I love David Bowie. I love his performances. I did see him in concert when I was in high school. Saw him in concert in Michigan. I believe it was at the Pontiac Silverdome way back in the day. And he, sort of changed his look and kind of renewed his career on MTV in the 80s. So the fact that he's had like a career that spanned decades and changed different looks, even had different sort of types of music. I liked the aspects where he talks about spirituality and sort of life in general and sort of his philosophies about life, his philosophies about creativity. That's where the movie, I think, really succeeds. Where it fails is getting to really know David Bowie, which I think should have been more of the point of the film. That should have been an aspect of it. And even at like the 2 hour plus running time, it feels like we haven't gotten a satisfying answer, right? It's like going to a concert without the final song or something, right? There's like a piece missing to this. If you're a David Bowie super fan, definitely check it out. But I'll say that there are better documentaries that I've seen, including by Brett Morgan, Montage of Heck. If you can find that movie, and first of all, I have that movie on Blu-ray. I bought it used. I cannot find that movie for the life of me. I want to buy it digital. So, in 4K if possible. That movie is inspiring in its creativity. So sort of a non-recommendation for Moonage Daydream, but a recommendation for Montage of Heck, which I think is one of the greatest music documentaries ever. And I love the music of Nirvana. And Kurt Cobain's tragic death at 27, you really feel in opposition to this movie, I really feel like you get a sense of who Kurt Cobain was. You read his personal writings. He tells stories into a cassette player. And what Brett Morgan did is he used animation to tell some of these stories. So you really get a sense that like Kurt Cobain was spiraling. It interviews people. So he chose a different style for Moonage Daydream that I don't think helped the film. I think the way his approach to a montage of Heck and exploring Kurt Cobain's life and Nirvana was much better. In fact, now I want to watch Montage of Heck. I think I'm gonna have to watch that movie.
So let me ask you: did you see Moonage Daydream in IMAX?
I didn't see it in IMAX, but I did see it at a screening room with one of the best, like a Dolby Atmos sound system.
Yeah.
So I am actually seeing the movie again, just with our movie meetup group at the AMC Burbank 16. If you would like to join us, I'm there every week.
Yeah, because tomorrow is the last day you can see it in IMAX.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, September 22nd. That's when it's run in IMAX goes out. The other thing is, Andy Howell, he reviewed it for us on Film Threat. He agreed with you. He called it long, repetitive, meandering, faux experimental, and worst of all, boring. But what I wanted to focus in on was he says that it was trying to be experimental, but it failed at doing that. Does that make sense?
It does make sense because they use a lot of this sort of weird footage of David Bowie that I never knew existed, him doing art projects, all this, a lot of old TV interviews. You'll hear audio of him talking. I don't know where, there's no context for where this audio came from. It's him talking about spirituality and life and kind of like striving. It's sort of it's attempting to be insight into a creative mind and how a wildly successfully creative person, a musician, because I don't think that David Bowie is just a musician necessarily. I think that he's a performer, right? He's not just a great vocalist. Like there's a lot of things about him that are creative, and I felt like we didn't get much insight into that. That's disappointing. I may have to go see it. I do have tickets to see it tomorrow, but I guess I'm not seeing it in IMAX. I thought we got IMAX.
Maybe I'll try to see it tonight in IMAX.
Yeah. So just for the visual spectacle, yeah, but the sad part is you will be bored. So I'm sorry to say. So
maybe I won't see it tonight in IMAX.
Yeah. So you Bowie fans out there, yeah. Let's get some quick comments. Hey, Latino Slant. Hey, Chris and Alan. Hey, shout out to Paulie. Happy birthday, sir. Happy birthday, sir. Always good to see you, Paulie. I was up last night at like 3 a.m. I hopped on. I couldn't sleep. Jumped on YouTube and I watched your live stream, but I caught the end. I caught the end of it. So hopefully I can go back and rewatch it. We got to hang out soon. Paulie. CD Stein 69. That's too bad. Love Bowie and how much of a enigma his on-screen and stage persona and how mostly normal I've heard he was away from the cameras. Yeah, he seemed like he was just a normal kind of quiet guy, like almost reserved and stoic. But yeah, the trailer for this movie is amazing. I wish they had made that movie. Yeah, and blah blah says at least they took a chance, attempted something different. I mean, I am going to see it again in a theater because I want to see it with my meetup group. So it's interesting, but I think most people, Andy Howell, who did the review on filmthreat.com, seem to echo my statements. Not the Batman says Bowie is already on record saying that him in the 70s saying he was gay, then bisexual was the biggest mistake he ever made because he wasn't. Yeah. Yeah. No, he ended up getting married and had kind of a somewhat normal life. He even talks about that struggle of having a marriage and a creative life. Peter Puffer says, I didn't really know about Bowie's half-brother. Apparently Bowie's brother was a big influence on him and spent most of his life in a mental hospital. Further to the future, it doesn't get dark. Not really. It doesn't get dark. I don't think it does. I love documentaries, but if they go longer than an hour, I start checking out because it feels like the director is just repeating himself. Amanda in a wiki says, well, good thing that Attack of the Doc, my documentary, comes in at 88 minutes, and there is a post-credit scene after the credits. I wanted to use every minute of the movie. So Zachary Bloom, seems rare for Chris to be disappointed in a doc. Well, the reason for that is if I don't like a documentary, I really don't like to waste time talking about it. But yeah, no, I was disappointed in this. And again, if you're a Bowie super fan, you're going to have to see it. But yeah, Patrick Lemire says, I saw the Moonage Daydream trailer in IMAX. It looked gorgeous. It does look gorgeous, but the flaws are still there. Jeff, did it include the fake suicide note she wrote for him? I don't remember that. So there you go.